Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to D4. Welcome to my friend Chris from Treant Monk's Temple. We are this week going over the new subclasses from the Arcane Subclasses Unearthed Arcana that came out a few days ago as of this release. And today we are talking about two of the wizard subclasses that we got, Conjurer Wizards and Enchanter Wizards. So if you didn't see the yesterdays on the Hexblade, make sure you check it out on Chris's channel, right over there or over there. Sometimes Zoom reverses. Anyways, yeah, and go subscribe to Treant Monk's Temple if you, for some strange reason, are not. I have a hard time believing that, but I suppose it's possible. Let's jump in to the Conjurer. So I guess I'll just say right off, I appreciate that Wizards of the Coast is with these wizard subclasses trying to give a little more sort of distinct flavor to the subclass, other than just this one's a little better at conjuration spells. This one's just a little bit better at enchanter spells, right?
Yeah. There were a few wizard subclasses in the 2014 Player's Handbook specifically, where at level 2, when you got your subclass, you got the Savant feature, which sucked. Right? The Savant features all sucked. And then you got another feature, and it was either something good or it wasn't. And we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make the ones that weren't good, how to find tech for them.
Can something work
And
here?
Conjurer was one of them,
Yes.
right?
That
Where
was just
you
kinda-
could create an object temporarily and have it appear. Could it be a poison? Is that possible,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
DM?
Yeah.
Lot of Mother May I stuff going
Yeah.
on.
Can I conjure a
And
cage around this tiny creature?
it was just not a good feature intended for very basic utility, and
Yeah.
we bent over backwards trying to figure out tech for it.
Yeah.
Glad it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's jump in to conjuration. So at level 3, we get benign transportation. I should say we get the conjuration savant feature,
Transposition.
right? Oh, sorry, I said transportation. Transposition, yes. All about teleporting. Maybe I'll just say like the savant. Everybody still gets the savant feature, but it's good now, right?
Yeah.
So choose 2 wizard spells from the conjuration school, each of which must be no higher than level 2. Spellbook for free. Every time we gain access to new level of spell slots in this class, you can add 1 wizard spell from the conjuration school to your spellbook for free. A spell for which you have spell slots, and this is the same for all the wizard spells subclasses, I should say. I don't know that I'm going to mention it any longer as far as what it does, but yeah, Savant, cool, more spells.
Yeah,
Good.
from now on, with all the other wizard subclasses, if we are referring to the crappy or sucky Savant feature, we are referring to the 2014 version.
Old one, yes.
If we are saying the improved 2024 version or 2025 version, whatever it is.
So, benign transposition. As a magic action, you teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Alternatively, you can choose a space within range that is occupied by a medium or smaller creature. If they are willing, you both teleport, swapping places. You can do it once per long rest, but then you can also do it with a second level or higher spell slot. This is fine, but I don't love that it requires an action. I mean, it's better than Misty Step in that you can potentially swap places with a willing ally, right? And of course, as a conjuration-focused character, we probably will always have, at the very least, maybe just our familiar or something else that's conjured, right? That we could potentially swap places with, and that's cool and fun and useful. And an action to cast feels too steep to me. I think I'd prefer to see it as a bonus action. We get that later, but not till much later. So that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah, this is the Conjurer used to get this at level 6.
Yeah.
It's been changed a little bit in how it's recast, but otherwise it's the same as it was. used to feel a lot more special because they didn't give every other subclass teleportation.
Right.
Now, I mean, you can't spit without hitting 3 subclasses with teleportation.
Let me try it. Just kidding.
There were 3. So it just doesn't feel special anymore. Sure. The only special thing here is the switching, which I don't think is all that useful unless you really think about it.
Yeah.
In my mind, I love the thought that my wizard just got grappled by the big bad guy and he's about to take his bite, and then suddenly there's the barbarian in his hands raging. Ah!
Yeah.
I love that mental picture.
Or sure, like fly your owl familiar up on the ledge. Well, you can teleport up there anyways. I don't know. Like there's going to be some situational times where you're trapped or you're grappled or you're, in a place that you don't want to be.
I mean, the thing is most of the time you can just a teleport without the switch does the trick.
Sure.
So when do you want the switch? Because that's the only thing here that's unique.
Yeah.
Not that often. Not that often.
Maybe you got yourself to a place that your friend can't get to, but they really want to get there. I don't know why. Maybe you are a species that has flight capabilities. I don't know.
Being that we are living in a D&D world where every subclass or every other subclass can teleport, here's what I think they need to do here. 30-foot teleport, but only to switch with an ally. Unlimited uses.
Yeah, I like that because sometimes like there's like some good and bad there, right? Sometimes the ally maybe doesn't want to be where you're at.
Yeah. Maybe you're somewhere not so good.
Yeah. But in that case, can it work whether they're willing or not? No, that's too strong because then you could do it with enemies.
Well, yeah. There's an upgrade to this later on.
Yeah.
Can work with enemies of medium size or smaller, but they get a saving throw.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, and it is fun and different enough that it doesn't feel just like so many others, for sure.
Yeah, you need, with these teleport features, they got to start coming up with ways to make them feel unique other than giving them different names.
Yeah.
Right.
And with when you get reduced to 0 hit points, you instead get a number of hit points.
Equal to twice your level or
and
3 times your level.
And the temporary hit point stuff, which we're going to see.
And give out temporary hit points.
Make them
wait till we get to
unique.
Necromancer.
Yeah.
All
right. Well, let's move on to level 6, Distant Transposition. The range of your benign transposition feature increases to 60 feet, and you regain your expended use of it when you finish a short or long rest. Okay, 60 feet is a good. It's that's a nice improvement. And you get.
I do think if you want to include non-willing creatures, you can't call it benign transposition anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we'd have to come up with a new name.
Right. But then we also get another feature: durable summons.
Enforced transposition, imposed transposition,
unwilling transposition.
Yeah.
But then we also get durable summons when you cast a conjuration spell to summon or create another creature using a spell slot. That creature gains temporary hit points equal to twice your wizard level when it first appears. So it doesn't work on your ritual casting of Find Familiar. But
I will point out that this, or what essentially was this, it was 30 hit points flat or 30 temps flat, but was a 14th level feature. Previously, now it's 6th level. 6. But I'll tell you what, in 2014, 12. Giving out temporary hit points felt pretty special.
Yeah.
Now it's like yawn.
Everybody gets temporary hit points.
Everybody have your temporary hit points all the time. Yeah. Have you used your temporary hit point feature yet? No, I'm still holding on to it. Frank goes first, then I use it, then you get to go.
I haven't used it yet, but you still have temporary hit points left, so I'm going to wait. Because everybody has temporary hit points, but my familiar or my conjured my summoned fae didn't have any, so now they get some.
Yeah.
Okay. Level 10, focused conjuration. Taking damage can't break your concentration on conjuration spells. That's
No
really
change
good.
at all. And no change at all.
Yeah,
Exactly the same as the old level 10.
right. And then level 14, quick transposition. You can use benign transportation as a bonus action. You can also use benign transportation as a reaction when a creature you can see makes an attack roll against you, but only to swap places with a willing creature. The creature that swaps places with you becomes the attack of that target. The target of that attack instead. And
I think
yeah,
I think this is fun.
yeah, it is. And again, kind of like you were saying before, with the barbarian or whatever.
Yeah.
And now, boom, guess what?
I mean,
Or if nobody else wants to volunteer,
we're
well,
all
you've got
thinking
your
familiar,
summoned
right?
creature, yeah, and so you can.
But I gotta say, the Raging Barbarian just seems so much more fun.
Yes,
It's a
for
much
sure.
better mental picture for
Like,
me.
boo!
Where the guy's like, I'm gonna beat you up, nerd, and then he
Yeah.
punches, and then he hit the barbarian. And
Right.
like, oh,
Oh shoot! Or what I like is I often do like tank builds on my channel, right? And the challenge with trying to be a tank in D&D is that it's not a video game, and you can't just like force an enemy to attack you by taunting them or whatever. Most of the time, here's one cool way to almost be like, if you've got a really tanky character, right? I'm a tank. I can't force an enemy to attack me. Well, you can with this, or at least the wizard can force you to get attacked.
I never thought about that. Yeah,
Yeah, so that's kind of fun.
but
It's
yeah,
like,
I think this makes it more interesting than it was,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and the attack might miss if you throw your paladin with plate and a
That's
shield,
true.
right? They're the target of the attack, but they only rolled a 19. It was going to hit you, but it's not going to hit them, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Okay. So yeah, Conjurer I think is better than it was,
Yeah, yeah,
and I mean a lot. It feels not that much different, except it feels like everything comes on faster.
yeah. And if anything, I think our main feedback might be, make the teleporting a little more unique. I liked your idea about unlimited use, but you have to switch places with somebody.
Yeah, to do something to set it apart from the Archfey or the
Right.
Fey Wanderer
Right.
or yada yada
Yeah,
yada yada
or the
yada.
Cloud
Yeah.
Goliath, or the
Yeah.
Eladrin, or the Shadowkai, or
Yeah.
for sure, or the High Elf. Don't they get Misty Step? Anyways, okay, let's move on to the Enchanter. This one makes me sad for the most part, because I feel like Enchanters used to be even better controllers than most wizards, which is saying something. And they're kind of not necessarily anymore, or at least they lost what I thought was their coolest feature, even though it was questionably useful in actual practice.
I have to say that I am surprised how many people thought Hypnotic Gaze was as good as apparently they did.
Right.
Because I think Hypnotic Gaze is pretty good at second level. Sure, it's good at 8th level,
Yeah.
right? Like
It
like
depends on.
do we care once we gain a few levels that we don't have this feature that we would never ever ever use?
It depends on, I think, what you're concentrating on, if you're holding on to your concentration, and like the battlefield. Like I played an Enchanter Wizard at a tier 2. It was just a one shot. I feel like we were level 9 or so, and I intentionally like used Hypnotic Gaze all the time. I would throw out Hypnotic Pattern or Fear, right? And then on the one guy that I couldn't get in the AoE, I'd Hypnotic Gaze them. And usually for the 3 combat encounters I think we had, it would leave like one enemy that wasn't controlled, and everybody would just dogpile on him. And then I would break Hypnotic Gaze, and they'd dogpile on that guy, and then you know what I mean. And it actually made combat so trivial, and frankly, it was so boring to play, because it's like, what do you do on your turn? I Hypnotic Gaze. Okay, did he make his save or not? And or actually, they didn't even get a save if they failed it the first time, right? So yeah, it was just kind of like I didn't feel like I was
have to
doing
be
much.
honest. I do not see Hypnotic Gaze used after a certain level, and I have to be honest that when I see split enchantment used, and I've seen it used a lot in the last 10 years,
Yeah.
it is almost every single time either Tasha's Hideous Laughter or Hold Monster, which it still works with.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, well, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So we get Enchantment Savant. We're not going to go over that. But then Enchanting Talker. Whenever you make a Charisma check, you gain a bonus to the check equal to your Intelligence modifier, minimum of 1. You also gain proficiency in Deception, Intimidation, or Persuasion. So this is like the opposite of the the Sorcerer, the Ancestor Sorcerer, right? You get to add Intelligence mod to, your, so now you're kind of a face wizard, potentially, which...
I don't get it.
I mean...
You're the mind-altering magic wizard. So why are you charming without magic?
But you're enchanting. Your
magic is enchantment magic.
Maybe you just sort of have like a magical capability to enhance your
I guess you're a bard.
Nature.
You're a bard?
Yeah. I kind of like it only because it's unique, right? Like we don't get a lot of this in wizard in the wizarding world.
That is true. I don't really understand it.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay. But I'm thematically, I just think it's, I don't know. I don't understand it.
Well, Vexing Movement.
Speaking of things I don't thematically understand.
Immediately after you cast an enchantment spell using an action and a spell slot, you can take both the disengage and dash actions as a bonus action. Number of times equal to your intelligence modifier per long rest. So, I mean, it's cunning action on steroids, or I guess it's the monk's.
It's a Step of the Wind.
Yeah, Step of the Wind. You have to cast an enchantment spell specifically with an action that costs a spell slot, so it's not like you're doing this all of the time. But
eventually you're doing it almost all the time.
Sure.
When
you need to, anyways.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a nice defensive feature to kind of get you out of danger.
I don't get it.
The Vexing Movement. Why? Yeah.
What is this? Why is this here?
You've hypnotized them somehow.
What does this have to do with specializing in enchantment magic?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. But yes, disengage and dash are good.
Yeah. Sure.
And this is a hot take, but power-wise, I think level 3 they got boosted because you got Vexing Movement and Enchanting Talker both to replace Hypnotic Gaze. Plus, you got an upgrade to Savant.
Savant, yeah.
I just think it is way less interesting.
Yeah.
Like Hypnotic Gaze, I'll give it this. Felt like an enchanter.
Yeah, it did. It was cool and fun.
You're using magic to control somebody. And we have two features here that have nothing to do with using magic to control people.
Right.
So I don't get
But they're good.
But they're
decent features.
Mechanically, I don't think they're weak.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do. I've been reading reactions online of people who think that they got a big nerf at level 3.
Yeah.
I don't think they got a nerf.
I think I'd rather have.
I don't get it.
Especially if I could have, the updated Enchantment Savant. I'd personally take Hypnotic Gaze over these other two features.
Oh yeah.
I think I would, but I also live in a world where I often forget that D&D doesn't happen in a vacuum, and sometimes people get up in your business, and it'd be nice to be able to get away from them without, taking opportunity attacks. But yeah, I liked Enchanting Gaze. I think it just felt fun and unique and potentially potent, depending on the battlefield and what was going on, right? But to be fair, also kind of boring, just because it's like you're a wizard with tons of spell slots, and you're not really using them.
Well, that's why I liked Hypnotic Gaze, is because when you were level 2 and you first took the subclass, you had 3 spell slots.
Yeah.
And so you had this kind of spell that was probably better than a cantrip.
Yeah.
That you could do an unlimited number of times. Right.
what I would want to do, and I think what I did do on my was it my Clockwork controller? I think I did Clockwork Soul Sorcery mostly with an Enchanter dip, right? So that I could quicken spell something with my bonus action, so I can still be casting spells all the time, and Hypnotic Gaze with my action, which was cool. But outside of that, yeah, it got a little boring, a little repetitive, redundant, and or something you didn't do. Okay, Reflecting Charm. When a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage you take by half, round down. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. And you can force the attacker to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell, save DC. On a failed save, you take psychic damage equal to half your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier once per long rest, but also with a second level spell slot or higher. It's just kind of, I don't know.
Did
It's
you
fine.
did you read the old Reflective Charm?
Oh no, I didn't take the time today. I've been too busy
Okay, so
to
here's
do
how the old one
comparisons.
worked. Here's how the old one worked.
Yeah,
The old one you used before the attack roll occurred. So you didn't know if they were going to hit you or
right.
not, or crit or anything. And then they made a saving throw, and if they failed, and there was another creature within range of their attack, then you could have them attack them instead.
That's right. That's right.
Unless they were immune to the charmed condition, in which case it failed.
Right.
This is a lot better than that.
This is better mechanically. That was way more fun in game when it worked.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
so more unique, more flavorful, more fun, but there were so many hoops to jump through for it to work that it was often.
Yeah, it never worked.
Yeah.
Never worked.
Yeah. It wasn't like what was it, the Rune Knight fighter, right? You'd take was it the Cloud Rune?
Cloud
Where
Rune.
you could just, oh, nope,
Yeah.
you didn't attack me. You attacked somebody else within 30 feet, 60 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. They could have done that. They could have done that here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Rune Knights get Cloud Rune at level 3.
Yeah.
Just make it once per long rest or something.
Sure.
Or short rest.
Or short rest,
but,
yeah.
But here, what I see here is I got crit. Shield isn't going to work.
Damage
It's
reduction.
taking half the damage. And they take a bit of damage.
And it's a little bit of what's the flames of
Which
whatever.
is probably better than the old enchantment
Sure.
feature at that level. Yeah.
Less interesting, but
But
probably
not
more useful.
not particularly exciting. Yeah.
yeah. Level 10 split
level 10.
enchantment. When you cast an enchantment spell such as Charm Person or Hold Monster, which is what you're actually doing, that can be cast with a higher level spell slot to target an additional creature, increase the spell's effective level by 1. So
Yeah, so much hand wringing over this one. And I don't get it because people don't cast these suddenly everyone was casting Ralathim's Psychic Lance with this. No, you weren't.
I was.
You
not
were
saying you should.
Not any time I played with you. You claim you were. Show me the evidence.
That's because I never played a level 10 wizard in your presence, I don't think, unless it
If
was a
you were
Blade
spending
Singer.
a high level spell slot, you did it on Hold Monster. If you didn't have the high level spell slot to expand, you did it on Katash's Hideous Laughter.
Yeah.
And you still can do that.
Yeah.
If I go back to the times, I've probably seen something else at some point.
Sure.
But I don't recall it because it's just so standard for those two spells.
And it's good. Like, it is. It may be very sort of prescriptive, right?
I don't get all the hand wringing here because I really do, I'm wondering if people have altered. They just they don't like the idea of twin spell. Mm-hmm. And then they see the wording here and they're like, this reminds me of twin spell. And so they don't like it. And then they forget that probably in every game they've played where they've seen this used, or maybe they've never seen it used.
Sure.
That's possible too, is that a lot of people have never seen this used.
Yeah.
They just don't like that idea.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in practical terms, the spells that we tended to use this on, you still use them on. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, hey, if I can get a 6th level casting of a spell with a 5th level spell slot, Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, bolstering belief at 14. Your enchantments fortify your allies' bodies and minds. You always have power word fortify prepared. With this feature, you can cast the spell without expending a spell slot. Each target of each. Let me re-emphasize some things there. Each target of the spell has advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the charmed and frightened conditions, while it has temporary hit points granted by this spell. You can do it this way only once per long rest. That's good. Power word fortify is a
it's a
good
7th level spell.
And it's like 120 hit points, right? That you can distribute.
Yeah. And
to like all of your allies,
or to one person, to the warlock who had an armor of Agathis at 25 points.
But what you'll want to do is give like 115 to them and then 1 to everybody else so that they have advantage on saving throws to avoid charmed and frightened.
Yeah, and I have to say, like if somebody had come to me and said, we want to give the Enchanter a free 7th level spell, I'd say power word fortify.
That's enchantery, right? I mean, I can see that at least they tied it to the charmed and frightened condition, so that feels enchantery.
Yeah, it's just if you're going to give a free 7th level spell to an enchanter, power word fortify seems pretty random.
Yeah, it does.
But giving a 7th level spell to a caster is really, really good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And power word fortify is not a bad 7th level spell.
No, it's potent.
This is a good feature
and comes with a nice rider.
Yep. And like I said, the warlock's got his 25-point armor of Agathis. You throw this on him, and he's going to be able to keep that.
He's just returning 25 damage all day long.
Really good. And the feature it replaces can largely, not exactly, but largely be replicated with the Modify Memory spell. Yeah.
All right. Well, those are my 2 wizards. So we just have 2 to go. One more video.
What did you
go
think?
Ahead.
What do you think of the Enchanter?
I mean, maybe similar to some other stuff we've said, and as we've kind of talked about throughout, like it's pretty solid, I think, mechanically, right? It's I think probably better than the Conjurer that we talked about. It just feels a little not so much like an Enchanter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. That is my thoughts entirely. Because I've seen a lot of people online suggesting it got nerfed. It didn't. I don't think it got nerfed. Yeah. I think it got buffed. It just doesn't remind me of an Enchanter anymore. Yeah. And that's kind of a problem if you're going to call it the Enchanter.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I think thematically, I don't know what went on where they just, I don't get it. They're like, what are our Enchanters good at? They're good at running. They're good at
not taking opportunity attacks.
They're good at handing out temporary hit points.
Right.
Like it's just, I don't get it, but okay. But I do think it's reasonably powerful. Yeah,
they're good at returning damage when they get hit, and reducing damage when they get hit. I mean, you call it reflecting charm, but what does that have to do with charm?
I kind of get it. I actually do get the idea there. I think the idea is that, and this is not sarcastic. I think the idea is that the big enemy is coming at you. Down comes their weapon, and you're like, you like me. And they're like, and they like hold up,
the big cat eyes.
That's right. It's Puss in Boots.
The Puss in Boots. Yeah.
and they're like, and they pull their blow a bit, and they feel bad, and so psychic damage.
Okay, yeah, I buy it. I'll buy it.
No, I read it, and I was like, that's why I didn't complain about that particular feature being an Enchanter feature, because I kind of thought of a way that makes sense. Yeah. There was just a lot of other stuff there I didn't think made sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Chris, for the time. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Check out tomorrow the final
finale
of these videos, number 7 of 7, where we go over the Necromancer and the Transmuter over on Chris's channel. Be sure to check it out. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day, and we'll see you guys soon.